The leopard cub's cries echoed through the tall grass. His mother was gone, killed by poachers in the night. Her body lay only a few meters away, her spotted fur smeared with dust and blood. But then, an elephant herd, led by the oldest and largest female, Malika. Her ears flapped slowly as she surveyed the land ahead. Her herd followed in formation, calves tucked close to their mothers. When the wind shifted, she caught a strange scent, the iron tang of blood, the faint musk of a leopard. She stopped. Malika lifted her trunk, tasting the air again. Beneath the sharp odor of death, she heard something faint, the crying. Small, rhythmic, pitiful. She stepped out from the herd, her massive form cutting through the morning mist. Her eyes searched the grass until they found him, a trembling ball of golden fur with black rosettes, crying beside his mother's body. The cub looked up, blinking at the giant shadow looming over him. Then, in a gesture that would defy everything evolution had written, Malika lowered her trunk and touched the cub's head. Gently, that he didn't run. He couldn't. But the moment her trunk brushed his fur, he stopped crying. He pressed his tiny body against her foot, seeking warmth. Malika hesitated, then scooped him up, curling her trunk carefully around his small frame. Her herd erupted in confusion. The younger females trumpeted warnings, some backing away. This was madness. But Malika ignored them. She turned and walked toward the open plain, the orphan cub swaying softly in her grip. That morning, the rangers at Okavango Delta Wildlife Reserve saw something that made them drop their binoculars in disbelief. "Are you seeing this?" whispered Dr. Nia Patel, the reserve's lead biologist. Her assistant nodded, speechless. "That's a leopard cub, and she's carrying it." Dr. Patel had spent 20 years studying elephants. She'd seen them mourn their dead, protect rhinos, even shield human children during drought migrations. But this was new. They recorded everything. Over the next days, the impossible unfolded. Malika kept the cub, who the rangers named Chue, meaning leopard in Swahili, close to her, refusing to let any herd member chase him off. She guarded him from hyenas and jackals, shared her shade, and even nudged him toward water holes, letting him drink beside her trunk. Each evening, when the herd rested under baobab trees, Malika stood awake while the others slept. Chue would curl near her front foot, purring softly, his tiny chest rising and falling with calm. Sometimes, she'd sway her trunk gently over him, as if rocking him to sleep. To the rangers, it seemed almost maternal. To nature, it was unthinkable. Weeks passed, and the cub grew. He began following Malika everywhere, weaving between her legs, trying to mimic her walk, tripping over his own paws. When she dug up roots, he'd paw at the soil beside her. When she sprayed dust over her back, he'd jump and roll in it, vanishing into a cloud of red earth. Dr. Patel and her team grew obsessed with documenting this bond. "She's compensating for a loss," the doctor said during one observation. "Malika lost a calf 2 years ago to drought. I think she sees him as another chance." But not everyone agreed. Wildlife experts from other reserves warned that once Chue grew older, his instincts would take over. "He's a predator," one wrote in a field report. "It's only a matter of time before tragedy strikes." Still, Malika seemed to understand what even humans didn't. She began teaching Chue boundaries. When he played too rough near the younger elephants, she'd nudge him back. When he crouched in the grass to stalk a warthog, she'd step in front of him, a silent command to stop. He obeyed every time. By the 6th month, Chue's spots had deepened. His body had become sleek, agile, strong. But something gentle lingered in his eyes, a calmness rare in predators. He still slept beside Malika at night. When she rumbled to her herd, he would purr in response, their sounds blending in a strange, harmonious rhythm. Then came the dry season's end, and with it, the first rains. Thunder rolled across the plains as lightning cracked open the clouds. The elephants reveled in the downpour, trumpeting and splashing through the mud. Chue darted between them, his paws sinking into the wet earth, tail flicking with excitement. Malika stood still, watching him with quiet pride. But that same night, fate intervened. From the darkness beyond the trees came a sound, a deep, throaty growl. A male leopard, fully grown. The rangers listening from the observation tent froze. Chue's ears pricked up. His body went rigid. The call came again, Closer this time, commanding, wild. Something ancient stirred inside him. Malika felt it too. She stepped closer, rumbling low, trying to calm him. But his tail lashed. His pupils widened. Without warning, he sprinted toward the trees. Malika reached out with her trunk, but he was already gone, swallowed by the dark forest. For 2 days, she searched. She followed his scent to the forest's edge, trumpeting softly at dawn and dusk. But the cub did not return. The rangers noted her distress, her restless pacing, her refusal to eat. Chue had answered the call of his kind. Over the next years, he grew into one of the most formidable leopards in the region, strong, graceful, and cunning. But unlike others, he never attacked elephants. Never. Rangers often spotted him lying in the branches of acacias as herds passed below, his eyes calm, almost reverent. Locals began calling him Chue wa Malika, the leopard of the angel. And Malika? She continued to lead her herd. But age had begun to take its toll. Her steps slowed, her once mighty frame thinning. Still, she moved with quiet dignity. She had seen droughts, floods, fires, and love. Then came the flood season that would reunite them. The rains that year were relentless. Rivers overflowed, swallowing the plains. Animals fled to higher ground, but Malika's herd was caught between 2 channels. As they tried to cross, the ground beneath her gave way. Malika fell into the torrent. She trumpeted in panic. The current twisted her body, pulling her downstream. The herd screamed in distress, but the water was too deep. Rangers watching through binoculars shouted helplessly, unable to reach her through the storm. And then, from the tree-line, movement. A blur of gold and shadow. A leopard leapt through the rain, bounding from rock to rock, ignoring the flood's fury. He lunged onto a fallen branch jutting from the river and locked his claws into it. His amber eyes found hers. Chewing it, he roared, not in hunger, but urgency. His muscles strained as he reached toward her, gripping her ear with his teeth to keep her head above the waterline. His claws tore into the bark, his body shaking with effort. He couldn't pull her out alone, but his cries and splashing drew the herd's attention. Trumpeting wildly, the younger elephants rushed forward, forming a chain with their trunks, pulling their matriarch to solid ground. When Malika finally collapsed on the muddy bank, gasping, the storm began to fade. The world fell silent except for her heavy breathing. Chue stood beside her, drenched and trembling, his golden coat dark with rain. For a long moment, they just looked at each other. Recognition flickered in her eyes. Slowly, she lifted her trunk and touched his neck, the same gentle caress she had given a trembling cub years ago. Chue closed his eyes and pressed into her touch. Dr. Patel, watching through her scope, whispered. He came back. He knew. Her voice cracked. He remembered her. For days after the flood, rangers observed Chue following Malika's herd at a distance, never attacking, never hiding. He would rest on nearby rocks as they grazed, always within sight, as though guarding her from afar. When Malika finally passed weeks later beneath a marula tree, the herd surrounded her body in silence. And from the forest's edge, Chue appeared once more. He approached slowly, unthreateningly. The elephants did not chase him off. He lay beside her, placing his head against her trunk, his breathing steady and low. For hours he stayed, unmoving, even as the sun sank behind the horizon. Only when the first stars appeared did he rise. He looked at her one last time, then melted back into the tall grass. Dr. Patel's final report described what she saw. We witnessed a leopard mourn an elephant. It was not instinct. It was memory. It was love, pure and unexplainable. In the years that followed, safari guides would tell visitors about a large male leopard who often walked calmly near elephant herds, never showing aggression. They said calves would wander close to him without fear, and he would simply watch, tail flicking lazily, before disappearing into the trees. He was no longer just a predator. He was something else, the living proof that compassion could cross the boundaries of nature itself. Malika's legacy lived on, not through her herd, but through the heart of the predator she once held between her tusks. And Chue, the orphaned cub she raised, carried that compassion wherever he went, a reminder that kindness, once given, never truly dies. Because sometimes, nature isn't just survival. Sometimes, it's love, fierce, selfless, and eternal. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like, share, and And subscribe for more true animal stories that remind us that compassion is nature's greatest miracle.